My guest, Basant Maheshwari, before asking him, I'm guessing that he was a buyer in the market yesterday. Am I right, Basantji?
No, we are already loaded, and when the market falls, we can only console each other and say, "भाई कोई बात नहीं, हो जाएगा, ठीक हो जाएगा,
So
सब कुछ ठीक
what
होगा."
happened
Like
yesterday?
we say normally, भगवान सब ठीक करेगा. That's what we say, but we don't keep cash normally, Nikunj, as you know. So whenever the market falls, all you can do is feel a little bit of pain and trauma, and then move on in life. So that's the way it is.
What led to the market decline and who sold yesterday? I mean, FIs were net buyers, DIs were net buyers, budget were great. I mean, SIP investors will not change their heart, but somebody sold. The selling in Adani group of stocks was excruciating. The reversal in banks was painful. So what triggered the fall yesterday?
I think, Nikunj, what we normally used to say that the retail joins in last and doesn't influence the market. Maybe I think the retail got panicky after hearing all the Credit Suisse reports and started selling. I don't know because the institutional figures were positive. So these days it's the retail. So you don't know if one guy sells 200 shares from one dealer and there are 10,000 dealers across the country, then you don't know the power of the retail. So, but these things are not of much relevance right now because I think what is more important is the overarching fear on the market about what's going to happen next to the banks and other things. So the retail and HNI, which earlier were like second or third fiddle to the entire market, they've become very dominant forces now. So I think that's one point to consider with. But broadly, I think we are not participating in the global rally. That's my biggest fear and pain right now.
Adani group of stocks. They moved mountains to ensure that the issue goes through, which it did. They were supported by family offices and some funds in Middle East. But the fact that Adani Group has decided to withdraw the FPO and refund the proceeds of FPO, what do you think that indicates and what do you think it will do to the future growth plans of Adani Group of companies? Because there was a reason why you went and raised capital. It was to reduce debt and to incubate high growth businesses. What happens now?
So, I mean, it's very basic arithmetic that if you don't have the money, you cannot grow as fast. But the group says that they will manage it, but the market doesn't believe. The price on the screen doesn't believe. The price on the screen says that I don't know what's happening. So I think that's the big difference of opinion that's running right now. And I think the way this entire thing has happened, it would have been better had they got the money rather than they not getting the money. Because if they don't get the money, then again the stories will start from America and from Europe, from a bank in Europe and from a research agency in America about the different problems that the company is facing. So I think the basic underlying problem was leverage and they had to deleverage. So earlier the deleverage better for them, I would say.
Right. But Basant, what happens to shareholders? Because Adani Enterprises share price is now sub the FPO price. I mean, do you see buyers now at this kind of value? And does the stock now in the interim go on a spree of upper circuits as opposed to what it has been in the last 2 days? Or do you think it's going to be the other way around?
The stock will go upper circuit, but I really don't know about that. We wouldn't buy. We have not bought Adani. So for the last several months, I mean, whatever you can want to look at it, we are not investors there. And we wouldn't normally like to buy something which is clouded with so much of controversy right now. So once it stabilizes, then people can go and take a hard, long look at some of the businesses, maybe their port business or maybe their cement business. But for now, what happens is when there is confusion and chaos, the arithmetic price earnings ratio, cash flow, business model, execution capabilities, nobody wants to listen to that because people are more worried about the near term impact. And in the near term, I think the market is blind. It can do anything to anyone. So the stocks went up, the stocks are coming down. No one knows the reason for either of these two things. So I would think that it's better to actually sit back and take a long, hard look rather than think that these are businesses I would like to own or these are businesses I would not like to own.
Basant, in the current market fall, I'm curious to understand, and let's now shift the focus and tone of this conversation away from the Adani Group. Have you been a buyer of late, or do you think there's enough panic on the street and you want for the dust to settle down?
To wait for the dust to settle down because yesterday's Fed commentary was quite convincing because the problem was in the NASDAQ. The problem was in the Bitcoin. So I'm not suggesting you should go and buy Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is rallied 50% and Bitcoin is the best indicator to where interest rates are going. The Nasdaq is a best indicator because the Nasdaq has long-term growth stocks. So if you see the Nasdaq is recovering, the Nasdaq is moving up, but the Dow isn't participating as such. So the new economy names, the companies that are going to deliver growth for the next 3, 4, 5, 7, 10 years, the ones which were beaten down last year when the Fed started hiking rates, those kind of companies are doing much better relatively in US. Still they're down 40, 50, 60% from the top. So I think the writing on the wall is clear. Once we get over with our internal issues of different corporate houses and banks and the insurance bill in the budget and other things, I think we should also participate and join the global rally. But I think what happened was we ran ahead of ourselves and then we started patting ourselves on the back saying that India is decoupled, our time has come, we're going to show the world. And then suddenly we realized that nothing's decoupled in this world.
It isn't, right? It's all connected. Basant, always great having you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time out.